Serious Reddit, what was the scariest place you have ever been to? Hi Reddit guys, subscribe now, or I will shave your eyebrows. Reconstructed subway which exploded years ago in Daegu, Korea. They memorialized the explosion on site. Scorched walls, melted people's items, burned phone booths and all, but the scariest was the scorched walls with writings and handprints of the people that were trapped during the explosion. This subway is one of the busiest stations even today due to being the city's downtown area. That sounds horrifying, dude. Probably a cave, wriggling through a lemon drop as they called it, where you go feet first down a skinny ass tunnel and have to wriggle down about 12 feet before you drop into a chamber below. About halfway my shoulders got stuck and it took like 5 excruciating minutes to get loose. I don't know why I went spelunking. I'm claustrophobic. Ever since I read about the guy who got stuck and died because they couldn't get him unstuck, I refuse. I will never wiggle through tiny caves like that. Oh god, that's the first thing I thought of. I've seen the diagrams and just ugh. And he's still their sad face. Is he? I must have stopped reading about it after the diagrams and they are chilling. I don't know why the frick this happened, but by the end of it you'll understand when I say my parents aren't known for making the best decisions. So, when I was 9 or 10, my dad took me to this house that had been basically destroyed by fire. I don't remember exactly whether my mother was there or she just okayed this. They were not together, ever. There were other adults involved in this too. I think my uncle and one of my dad's buddies. But I was the only kid. Anyway, we went into this fire destroyed house to look for it that could be salvaged. We found very little and really that should have been nothing at all. All I really recall anymore was an 8-track tape that had been warped just enough by the fire to play 2 songs at once in spots. So there's little kid me, after dark, picking my way through this freaking burned house full of debris, and I get into one room and look in what had been the closet and there's this shag rug looking thing there. Which was when my dad helpfully told me that the daughter of the house had run back inside the fire to try to save the family dog, and died in the closet with her arms wrapped around the animal, and that wasn't a rug, but the remains of the dog's body. And then I was encouraged to look through this dead kid's toys to see if anything was in good enough condition for me to take home. I've been afraid of dying in a fire ever since. Hey, quick question, what the frick? An abandoned set of buildings that were part of a former college campus, next to an abandoned military airfield. There was a lot to explore, but it definitely gave off an unsettling vibe. There was even an enterable hangar that had a bunch of torn gas masks lying on a pile in the middle of it. I had just crossed over the border into China from Kazakhstan. For some reason, my buddy and I made it a plan to hit as many haunted houses as we could. For whatever reason, there were plenty on our route from Moscow to Delhi. We found out about one in Urumqi and decided to go. As we went down these dank stairs into what seemed like once was part of an underground system, everything just felt wrong. The person they had us sit in these gross chairs in front of this odd raised platform. Out of nowhere, this girl, and I mean no more than 14, comes out in a skimpy leopard print outfit with a snake. We are getting get the frick out vibes, but are the only ones there and the dude running the place are right behind us. So, we proceed to watch this girl pop the snake's head into her mouth and swing it around like a helicopter. After the show they tried to guide us to these rooms with the grossest mattresses on the planet on the ground. It was really sad, creepy, and disgusting. All we could do is shove some RMB in the guy's hand and run out. I hope the girl is okay. Me too. This was in 2007 and I still wonder/worry. Sadly, in reality, you can't just go all taken on the bad guys in the middle of nowhere when you're a backpacker. It's an easy way to get yourself killed. You stumbled upon a human trafficking operation. My man really toured a bunch of brothels and thought they were haunted houses. Got stuck in my car in a freezing step during a really bad snowstorm at -45°C. The snow was real deep and my car was stuck so badly it would take a truck to pull it out. Cell phone didn't work, maps didn't work. For those who don't know, once the engine dies you have about 12 hours before you freeze to death. The worst thing is that the snow was so deep and the storm was so bad they probably wouldn't have found me until spring. I have been in a bunch of life-threatening situations in my lifetime, but frick, nothing is as scary as freezing to death in the middle of nowhere. Thankfully, another guy saw me. He happened to be driving a real pumped up Land Cruiser, all geared up and it. He gave me a real confused look once he realized I was driving a Jaguar XE, probably the last freaking car you want to drive there. It would have been okay if I stayed on the road, I guess, but I couldn't see because of the storm and wandered about 50 meters off road. He pulled me out and led me for 2 hours at 40 kilometers an hour, given he could easily do 120 thanks to his car. My brother went to visit my uncle in Papua New Guinea. He stayed the night in Port Moresby, one of the most dangerous cities in the world. His escort was a friend of my uncle's, an Australian federal police officer, that's FBI equivalent, and the hotel had armed guards at the gate, the front door, the desk and hallway to his room. From memory, the room was also protected, solid doors and stuff, with a panic room and an escape route, should the main room be breached. So yeah, I'd say that would be a mite scary. I'm an over-the-road truck driver. I've been to IT cities all too often, and it still makes me freak just a bit lol. Although I know what to do if someone tries to rob me. Just get out the truck and hand over the keys. It ain't worth my life. A Greyhound station in Buffalo, NY in the middle of the night. I thought for sure I was going to get mugged. Last year I lived in a suburb in Gifu Prefecture. Down the street was a broken down old house and my friend and I decided to do a photo shoot there one night because an old broken Japanese house looked pretty cool. When I say broken down, I mean entire walls were missing and exposing the inside. Floors were broken and lots of old junk everywhere. Pipes and beams were exposed and there were crates of old belongings. There was one crate though that had hundreds of photos of the same girl as a child to adulthood. Black and white, developed from film. It was always just her and no one else in the photo. I thought it was strange that the old owners could just leave photos of this girl behind. The more I looked at them, I noticed she didn't seem happy in a lot of them. I got really uncomfortable and so my friend and I left and abandoned the photo shoot. I think she might have been a victim of something and that's why the photos were left behind in a half destroyed house. Got really freaked out that night. We were on our way to Flagstaff, AZ for the Overland Expo and planned to camp near there the night before it started since we were on a longer overland trip. It was this place in the woods that was recommended by others who were there before. It all seemed fine and we set up camp. At night when we brushed our teeth we noticed there were animal skulls hanging in the trees all around us. It was super scary. We packed up and spent the night in a hotel. I got abandoned in a care home at 11 years old in a foreign country. It was scary. An Airbnb in Barcelona. I've spent quite a while in Spain, speak Spanish, and have visited Barcelona multiple times. I've also used Airbnb multiple times and know what to check for. 2 friends and I, all 20 SF, picked an Airbnb with several favorable ratings in a good neighborhood. One of the ones that's a room in someone's apartment. Show up, and the 2 guys look nothing like the picture, but are very hospitable, so we went inside. They showed us around, and the apartment looked like the photos. Then they showed us the room and let us be. We opened the door to the room and it's nothing like the photos. It's essentially a closet, 3 dirty twin mattresses on the floor with no pillows and blankets covered in old food. Furthermore, the door to the room has no interior lock on it, but it did have an exterior lock. It's at this point that we also realized they never gave us a key to the apartment. We took pictures of everything and waited until we heard them leave the apartment, and watched them from the window until they were out of sight. We gathered our packs and sprinted out of there, with no plans on where to go, just calling random hostels until we found one that had room. But it was on the other side of the city, and the metro had closed for the night. So we walked an hour and a half. Thankfully the hostel was lovely, and Airbnb refunded us and removed the listing. but we're convinced it was a human trafficking setup. I was in a small town in Laos high on magic mushrooms when the power went off in the full town. Local street dogs took the opportunity to fight it out. It was freaking terrifying. Pennington Hollow. Holla to the locals. In Ashe County, North Carolina. I don't know if it's still this way today, but back in the 90s everyone who lived there was named Pennington and you didn't go there unless your name was Pennington. The cops didn't even go there. Think the movie Deliverance. There was a whole classroom in my high school for the special Pennington kids. I once accidentally drove my little 49cc scooter into Pennington Hollow when exploring random back roads. Once I realized where I was, I turned off my engine and went into bicycle mode and noped the frick out of there. I've been to Mexico a couple times for business trips. Majority of the time it's awesome, but I've been in some dangerous situations. We usually have someone who worked for us waiting at the airport to transport us anywhere for the weekend since I didn't speak much Spanish and didn't know my way. It was late at night and we just left one of our resorts. After maybe 20 minutes of driving I was told to hide my face by the driver. It felt like something from a movie. All he told me was to not show I was American. I'm pretty sure cartels camp out near where we went and wait to find someone American since they're most vulnerable. To this day I have no idea if he was freaking with me, but it was one of the scariest moments ever. He was probably not freaking with you. Kidnappings are a real danger over there. It's such a bummer how unsafe certain parts of Mexico and South America is. I'm sure most of it is just fine, but I'm not gonna risk it. So a shame though, cause there is so much history and natural beauty. Okay Reddit guys, subscribe now, or I will shave your eyebrows.